This chapter still got me hot, guys. Maybe the wrong choice of words. Ayo guys, how about another Rent-A-Girlfriend video? Chapter 403 was so insane, and as a Ruka fan, I still feel so defeated. But I feel like there's so much more I want to talk about the chapter with a little bit more free flow now that we have pointed out the red flags in the chapter. So here we can freely talk more about this really sloppy dynamic between Ruka and Kazuya. But first, let's kick the video off by hitting the like button, then hitting that hype button and subscribing, because chapter 404 is going to make or break the series. First off, once again, this is going to be the last time I say it. We are not here to defend or validate Ruka's behavior here, but as I said in the last video, I really want to talk about Kazuya and his issues with confrontation. Kazuya being in this situation is his fault because he's indirectly setting up Ruka here, because he is allowing her to come over to his apartment again after what happened the last time and opening up the possibility of them being alone and, you know, deepening their bond. But as I've said before, Kazuya has tried ending this relationship multiple times, but Ruka has never allowed him to. And of course now he can't do it because Kazuya is walking a tightrope. He is trying to get with Chizuru, but he said that he doesn't want Ruka blowing up and reaching out to Chizuru, claiming that she is stealing her boyfriend. But honestly, that doesn't make any sense anymore, because I'm pretty sure Chizuru would love to hear that, you know, Kazuya is trying to officially cut things off with Ruka. But instead, it looks like Kazuya first wants to confess to Chizuru again and then get into a relationship with her and then deal with the Ruka situation afterwards, and that is the worst way to handle this. Ruka should be dealt with first because that girl is suffering at this point trying to make this whole relationship work, and honestly, Kazuya should be the one to break things off, but I do have another idea that I'll bring up in just a bit. Ruka has always fought tooth and nail to keep this relationship because she herself believed that Chizuru would never return her feelings to Kazuya. Once again, in fault to Chizuru, it might be a little unfair to say, but she did lie to Ruka saying that she doesn't have any feelings for Kazuya. Then again, maybe Chizuru didn't feel love then, but she was definitely interested in him way back then. But Ruka did bring up the subject to Chizuru to see if she's serious about Kazuya or not, because she is, so she should back out. And even though it's not Chizuru's job to let Ruka know, but here we can see that both her and Kazuya were not able to let Ruka learn the truth. And then it hit me that maybe Chizuru and Kazuya have to be there to break it to Ruka that it's over, since all three of them were present at the birth of this trial relationship. But that seems very unlikely, seeing how dire the situation is right now in chapter 403. I'm leaning on the side that it will be Kazuya the one to finally break free of Ruka, or I guess you could say set her free. And a tiny little defense of Ruka is that while her actions are horrible here, I don't think she's a terrible person everyone claims her to be. For the sake of the manga and the story, Ruka and Chizuru are rivals, and Ruka does not play around. She is proud when she says she's in love with Kazuya and does not beat around the bush that she wants to have sex. At first it was a tech to win over Kazuya first at the Love Hotel, but now it has become a real desire for her. She wants to have a normal loving relationship, but of course the issue is that she is forcing it. She is of course the youngest of the characters, and with that comes innocence and naivety. Unlucky to her, Chizuru has finally grown feelings for Kazuya, so her chance at a happy ending with Kazuya are just completely shot. But since she's so young and naive, she doesn't quit because this is her first love that she doesn't want to lose. And then returning to the idea that Kazuya should have ended this long ago, he should have also set boundaries and drawn a line somewhere. And this is not me trying to shift the blame, this is just me trying to make sense of the manga, okay? Let's not forget that this is a cartoon, but Kazuya should have made rules for this trial relationship to not include any kissing and definitely no sex, but in this chapter he lets Ruka take control. Because this goes back to his fear of confrontation, because instead of saying something, he maturely tries to run away, and they're in his own apartment, and then he freezes up when Ruka asks him not to go. And here he even lets her guide him back to his bed and takes no attempt to stop her until he actually does. But Ruka gets away with all this because Kazuya has led her on for too long, keeping this relationship going. Because through it all, he has acted very boyfriendly, if that even is a word, like telling her she's cute, continuing going on dates, texting, talking all the time, and well, eventually the girl is going to have expectations. Here Ruka was still acting under the impression that she was in a real relationship with Kazuya. Like I said before, this was not an act to win over Kazuya, this was a way to satisfy her own desires. But as we learn in chapter 403, Ruka was actually lying to herself that Chizuru was out of the picture and everything was going well with Kazuya. That is why we see a switch in Ruka's behavior, because of course Kazuya finally speaks up, and we see that Ruka has been lying to herself and too afraid to ask Kazuya if he was still seeing Chizuru. She was happier believing a lie that they weren't, and while Ruka doesn't want to come in between Chizuru and Kazuya, she still wants to have sex with the guy she loves before she really loses him. She's been knowing that the end is coming, but she wants to experience intimacy just once with the person who made her heart feel alive and feel love. It's tragic, it's selfish, it's wrong, but it's human. She just needs to accept that Kazuya does not want this. Kazuya is in love with another girl. She knows this and she needs to just let go. Ruka is emotionally and sexually frustrated to her own fault because she did not let this trial relationship end when it should have ended so long ago, even now when she has given up on winning Kazuya over. And now that it's all crashing down, she wants to selfishly satisfy her own desires. She should accept that Kazuya doesn't want to go through with this and accept that she has to move on. And Kazuya as the adult should overcome this fear of confrontation and let her down lightly and gently because she has been nothing but great to him. He can't deny this. At least that's the way that I took things. This is how I interpreted this whole chapter and how I think the outcome should most likely be. But I know that there's still a lot of Ruka fans and enablers that think that Kazuya should just do it if this were a true harem anime, like most have been asking for a true harem ending. And yeah, if this were one of those series, we would definitely see Kazuya contemplate having sex with Ruka because then he would actually be considering her as a end goal partner, but this isn't the case here because this is not a true harem anime. Because this is in fact a very, very, very long love story about Chizuru and Kazuya, and I know that so many chatters are gonna want to say that it's not even cheating if he were to sleep with Ruka because he's not even in a relationship with Chizuru just yet. And let's also not forget they also had the discussion about cheating during their date, and at this point when they're so close to actually being in a relationship, it would feel like cheating to Kazuya, so he can't do it, it wouldn't be right. And now you guys are going to point at that hit. It feels amazing, and what can that mean? And I will continue to stand my ground and say that Kazuya will reject Ruka's advances here and maybe even break up with her. And now that he's free from Ruka, it feels amazing to have no speed bumps on his way to Chizuru. He's already said that he doesn't love mommy when being asked if he still likes her, and if he breaks up with Ruka, there's no longer any other person to get in his way. And that would be an amazing feeling. But I'm not totally sold on that. It's just one of the ideas that came to mind. If anything, it could just be some crazy cutaway of someone else saying it feels amazing. You know, everyone knows that Reiji's a big old troll. Because no, Kazuya won't do it and he shouldn't do it because this isn't a harem anime. There are no harem endings coming because he's not gonna get 2 girls and he's definitely not gonna get all 5 of them. That's what makes Kazuya respectable in my eyes because he stays true to Chizuru. He definitely could have any girl that he wants at this point, but he stays true to the fact that he's in love with one girl. Love means something to Kazuya and I respect it. And to the people screaming that he isn't even in a relationship with her just yet, I do see it as cheating nonetheless. Guys were losing it with the idea that Chizuru had been with Umi, especially during that like ghosting era or ghosting period in the anime. I mean manga because it hasn't even been aired in the anime, but you know, everyone was losing their shit over that, and I just don't want to play that double standards crap, alright? It's not cool both ways. You wouldn't be happy to hear that the girl you're talking to was bent over to your rival and be okay with it, and then the girl wouldn't be happy either way because she does see Ruka as her rival. Plus, we already saw that Chizuru beat the allegations and rejected Umi, and now we gotta turn it over to Kazuya to do the right thing here. But yeah guys, that's everything I had to say. I feel a lot better now that I could really dive into this chapter, and sorry if I was a little all over the place. I am a Ruka fan. I did want to defend her a little bit. She's still one of my favorite characters. She made a big mistake, but I do hope that Reiji does the right thing and like saves her character at the end of the, I guess in the next chapter, right in chapter 404. But now I turn it over to you guys. How are you guys feeling now that the dust has settled? Let me know down in the comments below. And as always guys, if you made it this far into the video, don't forget to hit the like and hype button. That will help me out so much. And while you're down there, why not hit the subscribe button? I'm still a little sick, so every new sub helps me get stronger, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I couldn't even taste my turkey dinner last night, guys.